What is happening, fishers? Dean from Untraceable Fishing here tonight once again with
Jared from Bulawayo Fishing Tackle.
and welcome to
Tackle Tuesdays.
Anyway, guys, on your request, last week we ran through the Ragged Tooth Shark. We had some fun, we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And one of our members afterwards, can we do the same for cob this week? So why not? I think it's a species Jared and I both like catching.
Yeah.
I think it's my favorite edible fish. One of my favorite fish to target. I don't know, it's just something I'd really get some fulfillment if I catch a cob for some reason. I don't know if it's those beautiful silver dots down the side of it, or that nice pearly pink green shine to it, or
I
the
think
smell.
even the bite of it, it's got an unbelievable bite
Yeah.
when it feeds properly.
Yes, so yeah, something I do like enjoying. So as we did last week, we're going to run you through what sort of rods you're going to use for catching cob, what sort of hooks, what sort of terminal tackle, what size reel you should be using, your braid, and the different ways to catch cob. So I think Jared's obviously two different ways we can target cob.
Yeah.
Bait
And then
and
artificial.
artificial lures.
Yes.
So just to get the artificials out, we're not going to run into too much detail about the artificials tonight. We've had whole other videos on how to catch cob on artificial lures.
Yes. Yes.
So there's predominantly 3 different types of artificial lures you would be using to catch cob. Your soft plastics. So a nice 5 or 6 inch. We're talking rock and surf fishing here. We're not talking river fishing. So a nice 5 and 6 inch paddle tail. Either a jerk minnow, 4.5 or 5 inch, I think is fine.
Yes.
Obviously a lipped lure, or sort of a swim bait, or a Rapala type lure. And then obviously a bucktail is number 3. So if you guys can pick up, let's just tell you a bit about a cob. So looking at all those lures pretty much mimic a bait fish in some sorts.
Yes.
So cob are pretty much hunter feeders. They like things that they like feeding on mullet, carantine, mackerel, something that's alive most of the time I get, but we do catch them on dead baits as well. So let's just run through a bit about a cob. I know Cobtober's coming. Everyone knows Cobtober. Cobtober. Why Cobtober? It's a very good time to target cob. Obviously, the cobs are coming into the estuaries. It's their breeding time.
Yes.
So you're going to get a lot of the bigger fish around. And then talking about the bigger fish, Jared, you know like what size kg wise cob normally start breeding at, not like sexually mature?
So I actually looked at it today, funnily enough, just to cover the topic. So also, that being said, generally you're going to get 2 types of cob.
Correct.
You're going to get the silver cob and you're going to get the dusky cob. So I know on the dusky cob, males mature at 97 centimeters.
Close to 10 kilos.
Yeah, and females, if I can remember correctly, at 113 centimeters, which is about a 12 to 14 kilo fish.
Yeah. So
and that's between, sorry to cut you off,
no.
that's between 5 years on a male, if I can remember correctly, and about 7 years
7
on
to 8
a
years
female.
on a female. So you got on the so one thing we do like to just encourage your bigger breeding cob, 10 kilos plus. Please do not keep those fish. Please put those fish back.
Yeah.
Those are the fish that are going to allow us to catch cob in the future. Also been saying that for the dusky cob, there are different limits, different size limits throughout the country.
Yes.
In the Eastern Cape, it's 60 centimeters, and you're allowed to be in possession of 1 fish. Not possession of 2 fish in your freezer, possession of 1 fish.
1 fish only.
I know in the Western Cape, it's west of Cape or Gullis, depending where you're staying, it's 50 centimeter fish or 2 fish and 5 fish.
Yes.
But that's more generated towards the silver cob.
Yes.
I'm not going to get into the exact requirements on your fish, just make sure you do know the correct legal limits on your fish. So October, fantastic time if you get into your bigger rivers. Breeder, come to us, Sundays, the car, up at Port St. John's, you're going to get some really good fish in that type of rivers, some nice big healthy breeding places for those fish. I know one of the rivers I didn't mention, I'm not going to say which one, the guys are already getting 30 kilo plus fish there. I'll be put on the spit if I say which river it is, but I have an indication of some big fish coming out. So cob can be caught through the whole year though.
Yeah.
It's not just that time, but in the Eastern Cape, we like September, October, November, December, January. More the summer months, we do get some more fish. So river fishing aside, where in the sea, I like rock and surf fishing, so we can talk rock and surf fishing. Where are your favorite places to go target a cob?
In terms of a specific spot?
No, we're not going to name spots. So what are you looking for when you want to go look for a cob?
So generally, talking about fishing the surf, which is probably the main place where you're going to target a cob, especially looking for a better size fish. In terms of our formation, you're generally looking for a working bank with a bit of rolling water that you can get your bait or your soft plastic onto
the top of it or next to it.
Yeah, so generally the cob will be feeding either on the bank or just off of it, either on the side closest to you or on the opposite side, depending on how long your bank is. So it's normally just coming off of the shallows, as they generally swim on the edge of the trough, going up onto the top of the bank, looking for any bait fish that come over the lip into the deeper holes.
So carp being predators, they need pretty much 3 or 4 different things to look for fish. So they need, obviously, there must be some bait available. They've been hunting
Yes.
mood. Cover or structure. Okay, so you either need, as Jared said, cover. Cover would be something that'll shy the cob away. So if you've got nice cover, if you've got nice sand rolling in the water, discoloring the water a bit, a lot of nice foam on top of the water,
Yes.
it gives the cob that cover to hunt the bait fish.
Yes.
Structure might be a nice rocky point going out, or a single nice rock in the
Yes.
where the cob can sit and hide behind. Cob are ambush predators, guys. Yes, they do some run for bait fish, but they're ambush predators. They're not the fastest fish in the sea.
No, they're going to hold up in one sort of area,
and
wait for something to
and then
come
and
over.
pounce out. And so
Yes.
they're going to need some other discolored water. They're going to need some sand shooting in the water, or they're going to need a lot of white water for them to hide away so the bait fish can't pick them up.
Yes.
So they're going to use those things. So those are some of the elements to get into. We're not going to go into exactly what to look in the surf zone. That's a 3-hour video on its own.
Yeah.
So move around. If you are fishing a spot, 5, 10 minutes, 20 throws with the lure, 30 minutes with bait. If there's no fish, move.
Yeah.
Move spots, come back to that spot later on a different tide. Maybe the tide's dropping or the tide's pushing a bit and the cob might move into the area. So if any of you guys do bass fishing, bass fishermen out there, you can take a lot from bass fishing into cob fishing. Like pretty much where cob are holding. They're very similar to bass in some things. If you are fishing off the rocks, if you are throwing lures off the rocks, you'll often get a cob holding up right next to a rock.
Yes.
You might be throwing 10 meters away from that rock the whole day. The first cast you put next to that rock and you're on, because the cob's been sitting there the whole time.
Yes.
He's not swimming out to the depths to look for his lure. He's not wasting his energy chasing something.
No.
He's going to wait for the feed to come to him. So that's just a quick indication of where to find cob and things like that. Now, obviously it's Tackle Tuesday, so we're going to run through the type of tackle we're going to look at for catching cob. So obviously there are 2 facets. So let's get the artificial lures out the way. What sort of rod and reel are we looking at
So
there?
ideally, for that sort of fishing, you want to look at anything from a 10 foot up to a 12 foot. But the main option that the guys are throwing nowadays is an 11 foot size
I
rod.
think 11 foot's a good all-rounder.
Yeah. So we've got the
Cob Master.
the namesake here. So this is an 11 foot drop shot rod. It is a 2-piece. It's rated 1.5 to 4 ounce,
Perfect.
which you could do your spoons, bucktails, artificials, bit of everything with it. And then ideally you want to pair, in general case, 6,000 size reel. So what we've grabbed here is a Stratex 6000, which is perfect for that
It'll be perfectly
application.
balanced on 11 or 12 foot rod.
Definitely.
Okay, then we've got the reels and rod sizes out the way for throwing lures. What sort of, we're going to talk braid again. Obviously throwing lures, I don't think you're going to be throwing lures with mono these days. There are some guys that still do.
Yeah.
What sort of pound braid or PE braid would you throw on a 11 foot?
So I'm not too familiar myself on the PE ratings. I still stick with the with the breaking strains. So generally in the surf, anything from a 20 pound, 30 pound. If you're fishing heavy structure, you could go to 40. But it's generally 20 pound or 30 pound.
Some of the guys are going down to 15 pound as well if they're just predominantly fishing surf.
Yeah.
As long as you're fishing a good quality braid, you find it.
Yes.
So nice 20 or 30 pound braid. So PE 1.5, 1.8 to 3 for the guys that are using PE ratings, depending on the thickness of the braid. I like fishing a braided leader. A lot of guys don't fish with lure. Braided leader, PE or not, I got no clang on my eyes. I'd fish either 60 to 80 pound braided leader after that.
Yeah.
And then in between 30 and 50 centimeters of maybe 0.7 mil mono or fluorocarbon to attach my lure to.
Yes.
So that gets our spinning setup out the way of the lures. Let's get stuck into the bait side of it. So cob can be caught on bait. So your variety of baits out there. There's obviously now there's 2 ways in the baits world. You get live bait and what I'll call dead bait. Okay.
Yes.
So your live baits, I think number one of the thing, fresh mullets.
Yeah.
Fresh mullets always going to go a long way. If you can get a fresh carantine, the bigger cob, if you get a fresh shad or fresh live mackerel,
Yes.
I think you're going to come tight quite quickly. And then dead bait wise, obviously squid, catfish, prawn. There's so many different options when it comes to crab. There's a lot of options. Cob eats a lot of different variety of foods, but we'll jump into the bait just now. So I want to go out and buy myself a rod. I want to start cob fishing now. What sort of general purpose, one rod, throw bait with, what sort of rod am I looking at?
Myself, what I would probably look at as a recommendation is something in a 14-foot 6 or 15-foot length.
Perfect.
And then you can get away as a all-purpose rod with a 3 to 5 ounce rod generally.
Yeah, I think a 2 to 4 ounce, if the conditions are right, or a 3 to 5 ounce rod for cob fishing is where you want to be. You don't pretty much need to be throwing anything heavier than a 5 ounce single as a cob bait, unless you're targeting some big cob on big live baits.
Yeah.
But the reason why we're saying a 2 to 4, 3 to 5 ounce rod is not for the weight, it's more of the action of the rod. Cob fishing, you want something with a bit of a softer tip.
Yes.
You don't want too much of a soft tip. The reason we want a soft tip on a cob, they don't have the hardest mouths in the world.
Yeah.
You get hooks thrown on cob a lot. Especially the most critical point, I think, on the cob is when that last 10 or 15 meters in the surf zone, that thing starts going a bit berserk.
Yeah, you need very soft hands to make sure that you don't actually rip that hook out of the corner of the mouth.
Correct, and then just having that nice responsive rod tip just helps you a bit like that. To my eyes, still this day, the Gold Evo, still the best cob rod ever built. I still fish it for cob. Yes, it is antiquated now, but to me it's still the best rod ever built for cob because it's got that perfect action for cob. Unfortunately, not available anymore. There are some rods close to it, but in my eyes, not the same for that type of action. So that's the type you want, that nice soft tip. If you are a bit more old school, if you can remember the old Conlon, 13-foot Conlons, they had that very soft, forgiving tip like that. Also, another beautiful cob rod. So a nice 3 to 5 ounce rod, 14-foot to 15-foot or 14-foot 6. That gets the rod out the way. Reel size, what are we looking at?
So ideally, you're looking at a 8,000 or a 10,000 size reel. I would go more towards a 10,000 size
more
reel.
multi-purpose.
Yeah, multi-purpose, and also not to say that a cob is going to take a lot of line. You might get a really nice cob, a 20, 30 kilo cob that's going to take quite a bit of line. But the main reason I look at a 10,000 is because if you're fishing fairly light braid and you've got a really long wade that you have to do, once you come back after the cast, you don't want to be sitting
with under 100 meters of braid.
Yeah, you don't want to be sitting shy on your braid.
You want 200. You want 250, 200 meters just to feel safe there.
Because it's not just a cob that's going to pick up your bait. There's a variety of fish.
You could get a big pig nose, white stem russ, and he's going to run you 100 meters.
Yes,
a big boy quite easily.
So generally, as a safe spot to pair with the 14-foot 6 or 15-foot rod, I'd go in a 10,000 size reel.
And then what size, what sort of poundage braid are we looking at for cob?
Generally, because you're bait fishing, you might be throwing anywhere from a 4 ounce to up to a 6 ounce sinker. I would say either in a really, really good quality braid. In the surf, you could go 30 pound, but as a standard option, you could go a 40 pound.
40 pound. Okay, so also braid, I like fishing. I fish down to 20 pound for cob off the surf sometimes. I'm fishing, lucky enough, a good quality braid. 30 pounds my ultimate for cob, but if I am fishing the rocks, I do step up to even 50 pounds sometimes. It's because you never know when Mr. Black Stemrus is around, and he loves any bait that a cob loves.
Yes.
And if it's not a long throw, it doesn't really make a difference what braid you got on. It's not going to affect your fishing at all.
Yes.
Braided leader onto that, off the surf, I like 80 or 100 pound.
Yeah.
Sometimes up to 120 pound, depending on the conditions. But I think 100 pounds a nice intermediate braid.
Yes, a go-to,
a braided leader. And then when it comes to, that pretty much gets our rod reel and setup out the way. When it comes to terminal tackle, now listen, I'm a bit cooked in the head when it comes to hooks for cob. I have like 13 different size hooks I carry around for cob. I think in general, anywhere between, we're talking circle hooks now, in my eyes, anywhere between a 7 and a 9-0. You need either 7-0 for your smaller fish under 10 kilos. When you start getting your 15 kilo fish above, step up to a 9-0.
Yes.
Smaller fish, 2-3 kilos down to a 5-0. But I think 7-0 to 9-0 in a circle hook. And then we'll go into the J hooks now. Cob bite differently at different times. You get those days where you just stand and just get flattened, 3 bumps and straight down.
Yes.
But you also get those days where you just get the... Okay, so those are the days when they're off feeling a bit skittish. And on the last trip to Mazeppa Bay, the cob were extremely skittish, guys. We had to really I had to get the bite, I had to really downsize the baits, put smaller hooks on to actually get the hookups. So the cobs were just all you were to get into that shake.
You actually got to fish quite a finesse method for them.
There was no pickup. It was just a shake. It's all you got, and you had to set the hook during the shake. So that's when I go right down to a 5-0. Mitsu Circle Light, one of my favorites. Yeah, I did drop 1 or 2 of the bigger fish on it, unfortunately. Not the hook's fault. I think I just hooked them in the lip and stuff like that. Just the way they were feeding that day. That's my favorite hook for when the cob are super skittish or in the river. Otherwise, general purpose, you want to carry one hook around with you. I just go 8-0 circle. I think 8-0 circle, you're going to catch any cob with that.
Yeah.
Strong enough to hold the biggest cob, and even a cob of 2 kilos, you'll get that in the corner of the mouth.
Yes.
Cobs have huge mouths.
Yes.
When it comes to J hooks, same thing, 7 to 9. I really like the Daiichi. But any brand of your choice and any brand that you can afford,
Yeah.
that's one of my hooks. I don't know, you've got some of your own personal hooks. What hooks do you like? They might
Yeah,
still be on
look,
the table.
I've also, in terms of a circle, I agree with Dean.
Yeah.
So on a smaller bait, maybe a little tassel bait, I'll fish a 4-0 or a 5-0. And then if you're fishing a bigger squid bait or a live bait on a circle, I'll also fish a 7-0 or 8-0. J hooks, 5-0, 6-0
Yeah.
normally. Unless, as we said, you're fishing a live bait, then you could fish a bigger hook. Also, Daiichis, BKKs, Tridents. As Dean said, it comes down to your preference. So come into a tackle shop, see what hook suits your budget and what size and shape of hook suits your
Yeah.
application.
I think a nice thing about cob fishing, 90% of the time you're doing it off the surf.
Yeah.
So it's one of those instances. I know, listen, if I'm fishing off the rock scratching, I'm not using expensive hooks. I promise you I'm using entry-level hooks.
Yeah.
So, but fishing off the surf, I've got one hook that I've probably caught 20 or 30 fish on already. It gets cleaned up, gets put back in my box every time.
Yeah.
So fishing off the surf, you're not losing tackle.
Yeah. So you
So,
can
as
afford
one
to
of
take
the
something
times
slightly better.
You can get 5 hooks, spend an extra bit of money, and you're going to get some good quality hooks. You're going to get
Yes.
better hookups on your fish, land better quality fish, and you're confident in your hook, and you can put
Yeah.
that hook nice and safely away, and it's going to be used again
Yes.
for the next time. So surf fishing, you can maybe spend a little bit extra on the hooks. You're not going to snap up
Yeah.
too often. There are times you actually do. So hook choice out the way. We've got the hook size out the way. I'm glad Jared mentioned the smaller baits. So instead of match your hook to your bait size, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you're fishing a small bait, don't put a massive hook on it. That massive hook's going to weigh your bait down on the bottom. You're going to have
Yes.
no natural movement on your bait.
Yes.
So quite key, match your bait to your hook. Dangle wise, I don't use big dangles for cob. I use very short dangles. Yes, they might be a bit thicker than this. I personally don't like using long dangles for cob.
Yeah.
I like to keep the bait as short as possible to the bottom of the hook,
Yes.
just to stop those missed bites and things like that. Yes, I might put 2 nice long tentacles off of it like that, but the body of the bait, I like to keep as small and round as possible.
Like a little golf ball size
Correct. It's
bait
perfect.
with 2 or 3
No.
tassels going up it.
Just so you can, when those tassels are floating in the water, you can get a bit of a sensation on the cob's lateral line.
Yes.
You can see a bit of movement in the water, just
Yes.
gets them excited a bit. I don't know how many times you've had it standing fishing, 10 minutes goes past, so you decide to shake your rod tip, and in 10, 15 seconds after shaking that rod tip,
You get that
you,
bite.
you get that bite. That little
Yeah.
bit of movement does help. Now, when it comes to hook snoot, I fish a 0.7 for cob. That's pretty much my go-to every time.
Yeah,
0.7.
myself as well.
I might step up if there are really big fish around, which we don't really get in East London yet. If I am handling
Up
PE,
to PE,
I might go to
J-Bay.
0.9 in case you do get that 40-kilo fish and you're fighting him for over an hour,
Yeah.
just for the extra bit of protection. But I think 0.6 and 0.7 hook snoot is the perfect way. For you, cob, fixed sinker or running sinker?
I generally prefer a running sinker.
Correct.
So
Same as myself, yeah.
I'll fish a semi-slide trace. I think we've gone over them once
Yeah.
before. I normally fish 2 lengths.
Yeah.
So my semi-slide traces, if there's a bit more current and there's already a lot of movement in the water, my complete trace is 1 meter long.
Yeah.
So the hook snoot will be 40 odd centimeters, and the running piece from the swivel back to your leader will be 60 centimeters. If you're fishing on a day where you can get to the bank, it's not a very deep wade, the fish are a little bit closer, or there's not as much movement in the water, then I'll make the trace longer. So then I'll fish a 60 centimeter hook snoot and a 1 meter length of running. Especially if the fish are more skittish on the bite, the longer you can make the running piece, the better.
Yeah, so I agree with you there. So like if the cob is super skittish, I just fish a full running trace, like pretty much onto my braided leader.
Yes.
So that thing can run pretty much all into my reel if I wanted to. You know, I've got 300 meters that thing can run for before the hook will set.
Yeah.
The cob is skittish. There are days, as I say, when they take off, they just hit you and go. Then you can fish a fish sinker quite thing. But I think a general rule of thumb, where you can, running sinker is the way forward. Sinker choice, quite interesting. Cob, I only use metal wires.
Myself as
I
well.
don't use nylon wires. I know we've had in the past. Obviously, metal wires, they disengage once you've hooked up a fish. There's no drag in the water. There's no sinker hooking on the sand, as opposed to a nylon hooking the whole time like that.
Yes.
I've never happened to me, but some of the guys with the bigger fish have lost fish because of the nylon grabbing fast and tearing that hole bigger and bigger and bigger in the mouth.
I think especially if you're fishing on a spot where you've got a bank in front of you, you've got to actually pull the fish in over the bank.
Drop off. This is where the sinker's nylon sinker might give you a bit of nonsense.
Yeah.
Not always. It could give you. So I just rather take the safer option with the wire.
Yes.
And I think wire holds better in the sand than a nylon does 9 out of 10 times.
100%.
One thing when it comes to, Jared said, I like the wire. When you find that bank, you want to get your bait onto that bank.
Yeah.
With a nylon, you might get onto the bank. The wave might come and roll that nylon off the bank.
Yes.
And then you're out the target zone.
Yeah.
How often have I fished? I've cast. I'm somewhere near the bank. No bites. 3 or 4 casts later, I get that one cast where you need to be getting that cast.
Yeah.
It lands on that bank and immediately you got the bite. You're looking within 5 or 10 meters.
It can make a big difference.
It makes a difference if you're getting a bite or not. So if you do wait on the surf and you do throw and you miss that bank, reeling again, take that extra time until you get there. It takes you 3 or 4 casts.
Yeah.
I know sometimes if you're hitting 70, 80 meters onto a bank, especially if it's a shallow bank, a narrow bank, you might throw over the back of the bank, but that's fine. You can reel onto the bank if you can feel where the bank is. Or you throw short, or you throw to the left or to the right of it. That's why I say the guys are like all about casting distance. To me, accuracy is much more important.
Yeah.
If you can hit 60 meters every time, 70 meters every time, 80 meters every time,
and you're on that spot,
that's the difference between a fish or not. Doesn't matter how. If you could, anyone can. There's lots of guys who can cast 130, 140 meters. I can't. Nowhere near it.
Yeah.
That you're not going to get fish 40 meters past the bank unless you're fishing for sharks. So practice your casting accuracy. I think it comes helps a long way and things like that.
Yes.
So if I can just give you any tips when it comes to carp, be patient, especially when playing the fish. A lot of guys just like to just get that fish in as quickly as possible. You're going to lose more fish than you're going to land doing that. Yeah. Carp, be patient. The circle hook's doing this thing. It's in the corner of the mouth. Circle hook's sitting there. There's no reason a circle hook should just fall out.
Yeah.
It's designed not to do that. Take your time. I know with my hook set, I fish nice loose drag on the cob. I grab the spool when I hook set. I have a bit of a tighter drag for the first duration of the fight. Once that cob gets past the halfway mark, my drag becomes very loose. Sometimes I actually back off my drag. Fish the last 10 or 15 minutes. When he's doing his head shakes in the water, he's actually taking line off me. Or if I've got space for footwork, that's when the footwork comes in and the soft hands come in just to stop those hooks thrown. And I think another thing is, if the cob's in deep water, trying to get someone to run in and chase it, that thing gets freaked out. It starts swimming off in different directions. Get the cob. Once it's shallow enough, it'll turn on its side and all you have to do is slide it up.
Yes.
I think a lot of guys make that mistake. They're chasing, your mate chases in, the beautiful cob in the water, and he runs in frantically after that fish. That fish sees him and freaks out, starts shaking, and does his last stroke, and there's your fish gone.
Yes.
So take your time, be patient, and you will be rewarded with more fish. Anyway, I think that runs through everything. We're just going to run through, as soon as we have the bait here. So obviously, nice fresh squid, guys. Cob want fresh bait, no stinky bait for cob.
No.
Nice fresh squid, or one of the other favorites, a beautiful catfish leg or octopus leg. I call them catfish. It's definitely octopus leg, guys. I think are your 2 best bets for cob. Otherwise, a nice live mullet. So anyway, Cobtober is around the corner. So make sure you get practicing, get those practice casting. Check out your tackle if you need any of this tackle or need any information about tackle pertaining to carp fishing or any other fishing. Please hit us up. Hit us in those comments below. Anyway, guys, so from Dean from Untraceable Fishing and
Jared from Bulawayo Fishing Tackle. Cheers.